Single parenting isn't easy. We understand. Most parents don't plan to go it alone, but you can still make the most of this journey for your children and yourself. In fact, if you and your family are on that journey, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Single Parent Advocate community and to our podcast. And here are your hosts, single parent founder Stacy Poitras, and broadcast journalist, single dad and friend, Daryl Moody.
Welcome back to the Single Parent Advocate podcast. I am your host, Daryl Moody. I am joining you once again from my home in Orlando, Florida. Stacy is there at the beautiful SPA studios in Dallas. Special thanks to the folks at Venture X Louisville, the Realm at Castle Hills. We're joined again by Brent Sutcliffe. Of course, he has his Twitcher channel, Rack TV, and has become a friend of the show. Brent, thanks for joining us again. And Stacy, you've got some special guests with you. This is a Single Parent Advocate family that you're going to share with our guests this week. Introduce us to your guests there.
Absolutely. So I'm introducing you guys today to Beth Miles and her son, Jory, who have been a part of our community locally in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a really long time. They are really, really special to me. And the reason why I think that it's important to introduce us all to them is that Single Parent Advocate, all of us, our community, has been given a huge honor by an area business association. It's called the Highland Village Business Association. And they actually are considering Single Parent Advocate as one of 3 finalists for Charity of the Year with the Unity Luncheon coming up at the end of the month. So we're just knocked off of our socks. And today, before we started taping the podcast, they were here talking to me and to our advisory board chair from Huffine Chevrolet of Louisville, and also another one of our families who was one of the first families ever nominated for care by Single Parent Advocate by Big Brothers and Big Sisters back in the early days. And so we've had a lot of memories and a lot of talks and things today. And I just thought it would be really, really great to bring it to our national community. I mean, whether you're listening from Dallas and Louisville and Denton, or you are part of our online community, you know, we want to stand here, you know, with all of those who have spoken up for us locally and say, you know, let's talk about the importance of community today, not just community in business, but community even within our families. Because if it wasn't for this community that really is right around me, I don't think Single Parent Advocate would have made it 10 or 12 years, you know. So Beth and Jory, I'd love to introduce you guys. And one of the things that we were going to talk about today is just your journey and kind of what's going on in your lives and how you came to be involved with Single Parent Advocate, and just whatever you feel comfortable sharing as a way to kind of tell the community what it's like to be involved with us.
Okay. Well, I was introduced to Single Parent Advocate through a single moms event that Air One was putting on in Irving, and just kind of signed up and was hoping to get some sort of support some way, shape, or form, because living in DeSoto, I didn't really have any financial support. There was maybe 1 or 2 items that I could go through in order to get that. Not that Single Parent Advocate was financial support necessarily, but that it was more of a support to a means to kind of network through people and get the information I needed to go to that help or whatever. And one of the biggest things that happened was, I think, our very first Christmas, and you can help me remember, Stacy, you had asked us to volunteer, even though we were recipients of those gifts. And Jory got on stage and was handing out presents to all the other people that also had received those gifts from the organizations that supported you and our group for Single Parent Advocate. And so That's kind of how we got started. And we've just kind of been, even though it's been a hand up and not a hand out for us, and that was the whole intent from what I understood at the very, very beginning, was that it wasn't something that you guys wanted for us to start asking for money and asking for things and stuff like that, but you asked us to send in a request for what, you know, maybe our child wanted for Christmas or whatever and stuff like that. So that was a huge, huge help for me, because there were years when I didn't know if I was going to even be able to give Jory a present for Christmas. And so whenever we would go, Jory would be like, "What are you giving me for Christmas?" I said, "I'm part of Single Parent Advocate. So being part of Single Parent Advocate, the gifts that you get from them are gifts from me." And so that was really important for me to teach him that aspect of it. We've since done Thanksgivings and Mother's Day events and backpacks, back to school events, where we even went and helped pack the backpacks, even though we were also a recipient of that. So it's very, very been a very huge blessing to us to be involved with you and be a part of Single Parent Advocate.
That's huge, Beth. And, you know, I know when we were planning to, you know, have you come on today and kind of talk about your experience, one of the biggest pluses for me about having even been a single parent myself, and of course Daryl's a single dad, and we really had and have a way to help each other as we help ourselves. You know, it was always one of the three legs of the core values of Single Parent Advocate, and still is, you know, to love when love is not what you have received, help others as you help yourself, and leave a positive and productive legacy for your kids and your community, right? And so the fact that one of the most popular things, I think, is among the parents is that they can come and take a shift to either set up or help clean up whenever we go somewhere, because we don't have a place to go and we've never had the budget to rent a place, you know, we've had generous donors like Louisville Harmon High School when we did Christmas. Different people would give us places, or Circle Our Ranch in Flower Mound, where we did the back to school before COVID. And so we were really blessed to not have to pay rent. We had all, you know, donated items and different things, and every year it was just like working both ends against the middle to take care of the kids, to come alongside the single parents that were in the community who wanted to be among the community, and empower them to be able to bless their children, and for that feeling of, no, I'm a part of something. I'm not just, you know, coming here and feeling really low or not respected, or, you know, it's all of us locking arms and being stronger together, you know.
Right.
Jory, what would you say?
Well, I think that Single Parent Advocate has not only helped the parents, but it's very beneficial for the kids, because it takes when the parents go, they get to have all these meetings with all the other parents and get together, and they all benefit from this. And the kids, they get to have fun, and they get these things from all these different events, like their toys, and they get to play around, they get to do special crafts, and then they can gift these to their parents. They also give gifts to their parents. And I think that's one of the main parts that I like to remember. And yeah.
Well, you know, you bring up a good point, Jory. A lot of times, especially if it's just a two-person family, and I'm real sensitive to that because it was me and my son, just like it's you and your mom, right? And so I always want you to be able to give her something, and so does the community. And vice versa, we always want to empower her to give you something, because sometimes it's just not a good year, or it's a challenging economic situation, or like this last year we had COVID, and so when we help each other, help ourselves, that makes things a lot more good in life, right? And makes you feel like you can keep going and keep trying, right? Instead of shutting down. Yeah. So, Daryl, what do you think about all this?
Well, I was going to, make a point about what Beth said, that she, feels like for Jory, any gift that comes from Single Parent Advocate comes from her, and that's one of the good things about having, people who benefit from your nonprofit volunteer at your nonprofit. And it reminds me of a nonprofit organization where my kids and I volunteer here in Orlando, and they have a thrift store. And if you're a client, if you will, of this nonprofit organization, you can work in the thrift store for credit. And for I think it's like every hour that you work, you have $5 or something like that you can spend there at the thrift store. And this particular nonprofit works really closely with a women's shelter. And those women have the opportunity to go and work in the thrift store for a number of weeks. And when they finish the program out that they're involved in, not a rehabilitation program, but just kind of teaches them life skills and that sort of thing. When they finish that program, they're allowed to take their volunteer hours and the money that they've accrued working for the nonprofit organization there in the thrift store, and they're able to use the money that they've earned to help basically set up their apartment that they're going to move into. So, it's a transitional program for them. But the benefit is that you actually are able to use your efforts to benefit yourself and others. So what Beth was saying about how, she feels like she is part of Single Parent Advocate, that's really important when you're trying to build a nonprofit organization and to develop that community mentality. Whereas Beth will tell you, she is Single Parent Advocate. She's not just a client. That's her baby as much as it is yours, Stacy. So kudos to you for fostering that sort of an environment there with Single Parent Advocate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, that's maybe just because, I knew when I started reaching out and asking people to get involved, how I felt as, a single mom who had been through career transition, and I couldn't find another job. And so I was going to start to work for myself. And when I went to go found Single Parent Advocate, when I went to go found my advertising agency, Free Martin, that was the time when it just felt like I was uber called to start two companies. And the tears rolled down my face. I just really started struggling. I couldn't leave the counter. It was just like this burning in your heart. And so I said, ma'am, do you feel like I could found two companies today? And I'd been unemployed for a while. So, but it was only $25 to start a company. So, just getting the ball rolling. Anyway, so she says yes, and I said, well, do you need me to go to the end of the line, thinking I could buy some time to figure out what I would call Single Parent Advocate, because there was, all this time I had been volunteering in single parent ministry at my church. I'd really been leaning in, and so this wasn't a new passion of mine at the time, but it had become much more personal because I'd gone from being able to provide for myself to not being able to provide for myself due to being laid off. Well, anyway, she did not let me buy any time. She just said, no, you can do that right now. And here we go. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And so she said, what are you going to call this nonprofit? And it just flowed out, Single Parent Advocate. They're like, boom, there it is. And so from that day
spoken
forward,
into existence.
yeah. And so now we have this army of families that we get to be in their lives and their kids' lives and do all these things.
If I just jump in, I love the way Beth described it as a hand up and not a hand down. I mean, it's one thing to be down on your luck and to go to a nonprofit and say, I need help, and to just accept that help. It's an entirely different ballgame when you feel like you've got skin in the game, when you feel like you've put in your effort to help somebody else. Then it becomes, it's beneficial to you, but it's also rewarding. And I'm sure, thankfully, I've never needed to call upon those types of supports and services. But I would imagine it's a blow to your self-esteem to need it. And it would, I can only imagine it would really be kind of reassuring and much more beneficial to feel like not only are you benefiting from it, but you're also helping other people. So, and again, I think that just speaks to why the Highland Village Business Association, nominated you guys to be nonprofit of the year. So hats off to the way you run it, Stacy.
Oh, well, maybe Brent, you can lean in from that perspective a little bit, being a part of the chamber and the area. What is it from your perspective that you hear today that really resonates with you from an area business that's supporting our community?
Well, the key word for me that combines the two is one, community. Thinking about community, taking care of your people, taking care of, and community is the circle of people that are around you. It's clients, it's friends, it's family, it's those that you're around on a daily or weekly basis. And when it comes to business and networking, that's your community. So knowing that this is what you're doing for your community, this is how you're taking part, this is how you're trying to provide hope and life and show somebody that there is a better way, that's incredibly important, and just seeing what y'all have done in the month that I've started working with you guys, has been incredible, because you're living up to your name, and what you say you're going to do is we're giving our community hope. We're giving our community life. And it definitely is a hand up, because it's showing people, it's showing families, hey, there is something better. There is a way. I've had that one gentleman we talked about a while back, and his 4 kids in my mind, Stacy, that loads up everybody into a car, and just taking care of them and doing something for them. Because that's, for some folks, it's well, for everybody, it's a daily grind in their own way. But for single parents, it's an even bigger grind, because you got to think about the day to day. You got to think about school and work, and how do you balance this out? And you don't have that teammate, that partner to help with that, so it's a grind. So, but it's also a cool opportunity to embrace the community around you, because I think personally with COVID, people realized a lot more about how important community is, because more and more folks have had to rely on community just to keep going. I've been saying in the chamber for a long time, hey, let's embrace the local community. Let's embrace each other, because we have the opportunity to come together locally and really lift each other up.
Well, what I think is so cool about what you just said, of course, I've lived in the same zip code for more than 15 years, right? And I, recently left my career for a number of reasons in the media, and have started, working for my ad agency that I founded. At the same time, I founded Single Parent Advocate, but originally I was just going to freelance until I could find another job. And so about 2018, I made this change, and I needed to make it for a number of reasons. But what happened in that is the same thing Beth is saying, kind of on the other side. I showed up at the chamber, Stacy, Free Martin and Single Parent Advocate, and I said, I've decided to work for myself. My family's at Single Parent Advocate, and my team need me to be present, and I need to do my part and be a part of the community. And I was welcomed, and there were times when what do you do again, Stacy? You have an ad agency, but you have a nonprofit, and the message kind of got a little mixed up. But then along the way, over the last year and a half, 2 years, people like Brent in the Louisville Chamber and other businesses have latched on, and they've come to volunteer, or like Brent's doing, help spread the word and raise money. And that's the way we're going to be able to give a more hand up to more families, is when this community right here gives a hand up to me as I try to learn what our next steps are as a charity, and I'm so grateful for it, and you're right. Nobody's ever treated me anything beyond like, wow, what a great idea. How can we support you? And there's so many organizations to support, I like that we support so many too, and that we collaborate with so many more really pretty easily. So anyway.
Well, Stacy, can you give us an update on the back to school supply drive?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are we with that?
So right now, we have started gathering backpacks. In fact, today there are like another 70 backpacks donated. The team took inventory, and we've got a spreadsheet. We're tracking everything for all the kids. All of our families are waiting to sign up. We've got a little glitch in our sign-up sheet that we need to send them. So people like Beth and Jory will be getting an email in the next week to tell us what they need. And then we'll be starting to roll forward. One of the biggest things, Daryl, I would say we need is, we have to go out shopping, for the items a lot of times that, we can't always match things exactly, right? And so if anybody wants to make a donation online, they can go to singleparentadvocate.org, hit the donate button, and it'll help us cover some of those incidentals that come through. We're also looking to provide families with hot dogs and chips as they come through to pick up their items. And then Matthew 6 Ministries is going to be on site, and they're going to be providing snow cones and things, and really helping us reach into the lives of the families from an encouragement and discipleship perspective for those who want to participate in that. And so it's going to be a really, really exciting day. And Summit for Life Church are donating their whole space. So we're really grateful for that. And we're going to try to make sure that we include them in everything. And we'll be doing like a backpack pack. We call it a backpack packing party. Can you say that 10 times fast?
Backpack packing party.
Backpack packing party. Brent, you want to try it?
Backpack packing party. Backpack packing party.
Jory, how about you? Oh, no, we're not going to do it. How about Beth? You want to do it, Beth?
Backpack packing party.
Yeah.
No, I do have a question, a logistic question, Stacy. So families who want to take advantage of this, do they just show up at the church on the day of the drive-through event, or do you need to pre-register, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we need to pre-register families because it teaches us, what are the ages of the children coming through, because a middle school and high school student doesn't need the same thing that an elementary one does. Right. And so that's the largest reason. And then, of course, if, we like to have a variety of colors and styles of backpacks for everybody to pick from. So it really helps us kind of put a guesstimate on that. But if a family really wants to come and needs the help, I would ask you guys to DM me on Facebook and say, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and I need help with backpacks and school supplies for me and my kids, and we'll get you signed up. You'll be nominated.
And that's the Single Parent Advocate Facebook page, right? Not Stacy Porthrus's Facebook page.
Correct. The Single Parent Advocate Facebook page. I feel like what's really good about doing the Facebook page with the charity is there's several of us that watch those messages come through. And so if I'm working or anything like that off-site, it really is nice to know that somebody's reaching out. We try to not let anything fall through the cracks.
Good.
So if a family wants to get involved, definitely DM us on Facebook. And then if a business or someone would like to help underwrite our efforts, you can go to singleparentadvocate.org. There's a donate button there. It's a little mint green button, and it'll take you to our school supply drive landing page, and it'll be really easy. I think it's only $25 to sponsor a student. And then we also, like I said, try to provide book supply or book scholarships for our single families that are in college. And so we'll be reaching out to those. And those are usually a little more expensive. Books for somebody in college can be anywhere from $250 to $750. And as you can imagine, it puts a real dent in the pocketbook for a single parent if they're really truly raising their child on their own, even if they're working. It's crazy. But that's what we're doing, Daryl.
Awesome. And Brent, bring us up to speed with your effort utilizing Rack TV there on Twitch. Have you taken any pies to the face lately?
No, not lately. I did that for the whole month of June, and we're actually, and I'm just waiting for the payment to drop, but we will have raised around $500 for the Father's Day campaign.
Thank you.
And there's going to be more coming. I definitely, Stacy and I have been jib-jabbering about other opportunities and ideas because the hope train, you can't ever let that stop rolling, because folks need it. And I definitely resonate with Stacy's spirit on the matter. And we've both agreed that we're stuck with each other. So there's going to be more stuff coming, other ideas, things we got cooking, but definitely really, really blessed to be a part of it all and to be able to help raise what we've raised. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm blessed.
So Brent,
Tremendous.
what would you say to another business that's considering supporting this population?
Jump in. We need the support and the help, and it's a great organization and charity that is really bringing hope to people, and it's the best way to make a difference, because especially in COVID world where so many people have lost jobs and many more have lost hope, and there's always stories rolling through about how some people are affected. And jump on board, come help us out, whether it's taking pies to the face or going on site with, what is it, Matthew 8 Ministries, 833?
Oh, it's called Matthew 6 Ministries. And I'll get, all of that information is out.
Yeah, or it's doing that, or maybe you want to jump on your own cause and do a dunk tank on the weekends to raise money. The ideas are endless, but it's all about the passion of wanting to help and get involved, because there's so many different ways to be aware and ways to raise awareness, and that's why I'm doing a lot of what I do online, because there's a whole virtual population out there of folks that resonate with it. And just by doing the campaign, I've met so many single dads, just online, because they can be at home with their kids that have lost a job, and that's a whole untapped community for it. And it's an absolute blessing to be involved, and you don't know what you can do until you just jump in.
Oh, thank you for that, Brent. Well, I think that, I always try to welcome our community to look at, volunteering. As Beth said, there's a lot of ways to volunteer, and a lot of ways to become a spokesperson for the single parent population, whether it's single moms and single dads. But I'm mostly just wanting to highlight and have a lot of gratitude for my single parents that I know who let us into their lives and their kids, because it's not always easy to let somebody close to you when you're hurting. And, that old saying, never let them see you sweat, right? And when there's such a stigma, about, I'm not always wanting to wear my single parent badge, if that's the way you feel and you're a single mom or a single dad and you're not proud of where you're at for some reason. Imagine having a community that really identifies with you and empowers you and gives you an opportunity to be the change that you seek. And not only for your own children, but for other children too. And I hope that one of these days when I'm, up in heaven, hopefully, there'll be a way to lock arms and to pay it forward. And I think, all the businesses that have come alongside of us lately, I think the horizon is full for Single Parent Advocate, the organization, to really listen to the population of families and match it together with the voices of the businesses and come up with something just as organic and unique that will allow us to scale a little bigger, because so many people are crying out. And so back to you, Daryl, about, signing up on Facebook and letting us know. One of the things that I haven't mentioned a lot is that we have a meetup group. A meetup group that it says Single Parent Advocate Dallas, Texas. There's about 300 or 400 families in there, and it's one of my goals to start having, online and in-person meetups. And so some of those can be local here, some of those maybe could be in Orlando, and maybe some of those could be online. So I'm looking for people who like the meetup environment to come alongside me and come up with some ideas. I think it'll be fun.
Awesome. We'll have to work on that for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Well, I just want to wrap up the show for the week. Stacey, again, kudos to you. Congratulations. Nonprofit of the Year finalist, named by the Highland Village Business Association at their Unity Luncheon. That is, tremendous. That's awesome, Stacey. I hope you guys win. I have no doubt that you will. Again, folks, go to singleparentadvocate.org. Follow us on social media, Single Parent Advocate on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Where else?
Meetup. Join us on Meetup. Some of our population is jumping on Meetup too, and we're on YouTube.
That's right. That's why we're on camera today.
Yeah.
So originally we wanted to talk about vacation because it's summertime. A lot of folks are taking vacations. You just took one yourself. I've got a trip coming up in here with some friends in a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about that next week. But thank you, folks, for joining us as always, and we will talk to you again next week.
Bye, everybody.